My home, beautiful state of Florida, seems a little bit busier than usual.
Nothing beats Florida, man.
It's the New Yorkers!
Lock the gates! They're everywhere!
The invasion is happening, and I'm kind of all here for it. Actually, I think New Yorkers are making Florida pretty great, to be quite honest with you. The locals might disagree here a little bit, as of course now we enter the realm of political and debate and conversation about what went wrong with New York City. Well, I have a couple theories, as of course Brett Cooper has come out firing shots against Congressman Randy Fine, essentially telling him to move back to Israel, as the left-right divide isn't as strong as the right-right divide here. As, of course, it looks like we now kind of are getting hints into why Brett Cooper left the Daily Wire, as Nick Fuentes has some very interesting things to say about this, as Ted Cruz is now speaking out against her, as the right, again, is trying to hyper-focus and police speech and offensive, radical opinions from people who have shows. It's like, okay, you guys are losing elections. You would think now would be the time to get your ducks in a row here. As of course, there's a very nuanced take on this particular matter that I think is worth talking about and having, and that's why we're doing this particular video. And if you agree, subscribe and click the notification button, because you find yourself at the right place, where we greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, someone made a very interesting post here saying, I guess bombing Iran, not releasing the Epstein list, and blacklisting everyone who criticizes Israel doesn't win elections. As a lot of people are pointing to this very particular moment that, according to some people, won Mandani the election.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Mr. Cuomo?
The candidates were asked, where would you visit when you would become mayor of New York City? Where would be your first stop that you would go to?
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my fourth trip to Israel, followed by my fifth trip to Ukraine, two of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani?
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
What a change! I'm actually going to work for you guys and take care of you guys instead of prioritizing another country. As it's important to note here that the Israel First lobby threw everything they had at Mandani. You saw Bill Ackman, you saw Bloomberg give millions of dollars. You saw the social media outrage. You saw organized, orchestrated campaigns. You saw people getting paid off. And none of it worked, which makes you wonder, what does this show you? Now, does that mean that the Israel First lobby maybe isn't as powerful as some people are saying it is? Other people are saying, well, maybe it's losing relevancy. Maybe it's losing its kind of political sway and influence, especially amongst young people, as young people overwhelmingly are saying, hey, America first, that's a nice slogan. Taking care of our problems, taking care of our people. Maybe that should be a priority, as that conversation is now being sparked up by Brett Cooper. Now, it is important to note here, as Bob here points out, that as soon as Mandani won, he thanked foreigners. And he did say, this is a city of immigrants. We're going to welcome immigrants. We're going to protect them from Donald Trump. He gave a very fiery, aggressive speech, as even Van Jones were saying, you know, in that victory, you could have not been as aggressive, but he chose aggression. There clearly is a big political battle out there for ideas. As Mike Cernovich says, Bill Ackman helped get Mandani elected. Can you imagine Bill giving Turning Point or America First Legal $100 million? It would never happen. Bill is already kissing up to Mandani. I hope everyone has learned a valuable lesson. As Cernovich says, Bill Ackman funds the same open borders group that Mandani wants to give $100 million in taxpayer money to. As we had Bill Ackman thank Mandani for winning and offer his help and support to him after he won the election. And now enters Brett Cooper, who addressed some of the drama happening between the right and the right. As her comments here are creating a big firestorm, a big buzz here, as a lot of people are saying, yeah, she is saying what a lot of the young people are thinking.
But this whole thing is also just frankly comical. Like, I mean, a room of 200 people coming together to...
She's talking about the Israeli Congressional Congress that happened a few days ago with members of the U.S. government, as well as media personalities coming out and all wagging their finger at Tucker Carlson. How dare you platform someone we disagree with? Even though Tucker pushed back and had a more nuanced conversation, they're like, how dare you? And this is what Brett Cooper is talking about.
Shit on a podcaster. Like, this is not serious behavior. But again, who is surprised when it comes to these characters? Like Randy Fine, if you don't know who he is, he's a representative from Florida. He's the same guy who bragged about not washing his hands after he had a handshake with Netanyahu. He's repeatedly introduced bills.
Yeah, that's just weird type of behavior. It's like, I'm not washing my hands. You should wash your hands. I mean, it's just... how many bathroom visits did the guy have in between shaking Netanyahu's hand and not washing it?
To criminalize anti-Semitism, infringing upon free speech. I mean, he obviously, I'm sorry to say, but he obviously cares more about Israel than he does, principles like free speech. So, buddy, like, my advice to you, Randy Fine, is just move to Israel at this point. Like, considering you had to go through anger management classes a few years ago, I genuinely think you would probably be happier if you just moved to Israel. And that's not a dig at him. That's just a fact. It's a nudge of encouragement. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be healthy. I think you would be happier if you just moved to Israel. You could be over there singing songs with Mike Huckabee.
Yeah. As some people are saying, you racist. And I'm like, well, she makes a good point. Let's be honest. Let's kind of conceptualize it. If you really love the government of Israel, go support the government of Israel. And there's no hate, right? Whatever. That's your thing. You like it? Go do it. Cool. All right. As Clint Russell writes, if you are wondering why Brett Cooper left the Daily Wire, look no further. She just wanted to tell the truth. Quote, kudos to her. Now, Brett's kind of monologue was a little bit more nuanced than that, and more than just this particular clip. We have more of it here, but then a lot of people are responding very kind of negatively to this on the establishment neocon type of right here. As Ted Cruz came out, as Brett Cooper also called out Ted Cruz's hypocrisy and other hypocrisy amongst the right here. As she called him out for hyper-focusing on Nick Fuentes. And Ted Cruz responded by saying, I don't know who this angry lady is. She doesn't seem angry. She's like joking and laughing and like having a conversation that doesn't seem angry. Where are you seeing angry? And then he goes on, but she's missing a key distinction. Fuentes calls himself an N. Yeah, that's true. He said he thinks Hitler is cool. Yeah, he does. I don't think he is, personally. Quote. And then he goes off and talks about some of the more edgy things that Nick said a couple of years ago. And then he goes on, if you explicitly side and advocate for H, you're actually an effing N. Yeah, sure, but you don't understand how like discourse and conversation is happening where people are literally saying things to get a rise. And then those bad ideas should be met with good ideas, not calls for shutting down the dialogue. And if you truly want to address a lot of those type of conversations, you have an honest and legitimate conversation on it. You don't just kind of push it away and try to demonize it. As of course, there are legitimate arguments to make here against those type of viewpoints that I think are relevant and I think more people need to hear. And I thought individuals like Charlie Kirk were doing a great job at addressing some of those issues and concerns. And then, of course, Charlie Kirk is taken out here. And the establishment right, is just hyper-focusing on destroying this coalition, on telling people what they could do, freaking out because of people saying controversial, edgy stuff to get views, and then they get views and they get more attention when they're given it to, and then they're like, oh, I wonder why it's happening. Wonder why when I put fuel on this fire, well, there's fire. Why? And then all they have to do is kind of look in the mirror and kind of self-reflect, like, oh yeah, the problem's me. The problem is me, and not being patient, not being calm, not trying to dissuade and have those particular conversations. Now, Nick had some very interesting things to say about Brett. Before playing that clip and getting into that commentary, we wanted to remind you, if you want to support us and support yourself and your own personal health, check out wearechange.shop. Our number one selling supplement is our creatine. 2-month supply, $53. Really great, incredible 99.99% pure stuff. Lots of people don't like to tell you where they get their creatine. We do, because we're proud of it, because we get it from the best source. We get it from the most expensive, trusted source. No fillers, not from China. It is from Germany. Ask people where they're getting their creatine from. If they don't tell you, be worried. I was just on Instagram, and then this is what people were saying about creatine.
Creatine should be now mandatory in everybody's toolkit, just like brushing your teeth or exercising. I think everybody should be supplementing with creatine. Prior to being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, you've got this 30-year period of all these stages. And one of those stages is subjective cognitive impairment, which is the first stages of Alzheimer's disease, right? Sometimes your thinking's not up to scratch, or you forgot where you put your keys, or you're getting slower reaction times. These are all cognitive functions. They start to decline. Then you've got mild cognitive impairment, which is a pre-dementia state, and that lasts around 20 years. So it's during these states that you need as much brain energy as you can. And we can get that from creatine.
As a lot of women naturally have lower levels of creatine than men. I must have voted for Zohran Mandani. Oh, look at that. I'm joking. Wearechange.shop. I'm not. Check it out. Thank you for supporting this independent media outlet by also supporting yourself. Now, Nick's comments on this were pretty interesting, as of course he's been pushing and putting a lot of pressure on individuals like Matt Walsh, saying, hey, what side are you on? I think a lot of it is kind of unfair, and he's trying to wedge more of a divide here. Matt Walsh is Matt Walsh, and I kind of disagree with some of those efforts to try to say, now, Matt Walsh, you need to speak out. When Brett Cooper has more of a kind of nuanced take on it herself, as she previously described how she's close to Ben Shapiro, she's close to Matt Walsh, she's close to Candace Owens, and I think that is like a shining light of like, okay, we could all be friends, right? We could all get along, we could all agree to disagree and stop making each other the main focus point of our type of energy, while the left is having victory laps all around us, celebrating and cheering for our death.
Doesn't even make sense. $20. Why does Brett Cooper low-key look like Candace if she was white? Matt Walsh, you better watch out. You're being outmaneuvered by some basic bitch girly con.
That was insane, dude. Brett Cooper comes out and says, go back to Israel. Go back to Israel where you belong. I was like,
that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but okay.
Like, whoa, Brett. I was like, Brett. I put my hair behind my ear like Radio Rebel. I was like, Brett, oh my goodness. I was like, she's really good. I was like, I did the Allison Stoner from Camp Rock. I did the Demi Lovato. Brett Cooper was like, hey, Randy Fine. She's like, you know what? Hey, Randy Fine, why don't you take your fat ass and go back to Israel if you hate America? She's real.
She didn't really say that. But I think Nick's trying to make a point here, making this a bigger point than it actually is.
Really good. Brad Cooper, let's fucking go. Honorary Groiper. Brad Cooper, raise your right hand real quick. That was awesome. That was unexpected. Who was expecting that? I take back everything I said about her. I made fun of her wedding. I don't like her wedding. I'm going to be honest. And we want to know why her wedding was like...
we don't really care about the wedding personally. And then Nick, during his monologues, also was talking about Matt Walsh needs to pick a side. I don't think he does. Now, Brett Cooper went on and described more of her types of thoughts and opinions and expressions, which I kind of agree with. I think it's silly that so much of the, quote, establishment neocon Israel first right is hyper-focusing on policing speech and using the same type of rhetoric that the left used a few years ago that radicalized them to the point where now they're cheering on and celebrating the death of people. I think it's extremely reckless. I think it's extremely dangerous. I think it's an extremely big waste of time. And I think we should be hyper-focusing and seeing what works and hyper-focusing on the American people rather than foreign countries, foreign nations, that a lot of American people are saying, especially the younger people are saying, has nothing to do with us. Wish them well. Help them when it's mutually beneficial, not just when it's one-sided. And the problem is, there's a lot of things that are extremely one-sided, that are hypocritical, that are ridiculous, that deserve to be called out, and they're not. Again, people are saying Matt, and then there's a lot of pressure to try to say Matt Walsh should be ashamed. No, he shouldn't. Matt Walsh is Matt Walsh. There was also the end bit of Nick's video here where he says that Brett Cooper is an honorary groiper. Again, I don't like this term. I think it's already like weaponized autism to the fullest extent here. Now people are saying these women have the balls here. Well, it's good to have this type of commentary, but again, forcing and pressuring people to just do this is what the other side does. And any type of emotional type of manipulation, I'm just automatically against here. Now, Brett even went on and released a video a few days ago talking about, look, I'm still close to Ben Shapiro. Or people are going to be like, oh, cancel, disavow. I don't think he should. I think people have a right to be friends. I think people have a right to have their opinions. I think in the bigger scheme of things, we all need to take a step back and say, hey, the economy is like tinkering on like, and like pretty close to crashing. Like, hey, the situation isn't good domestically, and we need to fix that to give young people hope and opportunities and a chance to actually make it in these markets instead of just being absolutely obliterated, which they will continue to be, which they will continue to be radicalized, which they will continue to choose far political extremist answers on the spectrum. Predominantly, since the left has a lot of the culture, they're going to be moving towards the left. And you see a lot of women hijacked by a lot of mass media go to the left because that's where they tell them to go. And that's why overwhelmingly white women voted for Mamdani. Overwhelmingly, not by a big margin, but white men were the only demographic that didn't vote for Mamdani, didn't vote for socialism in New York City. Here's Brett Cooper describing her kind of friendship with people and the way she moves about in this movement with ties to the establishment right and the anti-establishment right.
I will not stop being friends with Candace Owens, who has become like a big sister to me because the internet demands it. I will not attack Matt just because I no longer work with him or because the internet has decided to pile on to him for the 27th millionth time. I also will not pile on to attacks on Ben Shapiro's character because he was nothing but kind and supportive of me during my time at Daily Wire. And that is a fact. I just won't do it. And if you have a problem with any of that, that's fine. That is your prerogative. It simply means that we have different values. And guess what? It is a free country. That is the beauty of America.
Exactly. That is your problem. Stop policing people. And again, you see the kind of anti-establishment right dudes too. You're like, you better not be friends with him. I'm like, calm your tits. I'll be friends with whoever I want to be. And people are like, how dare you? And people do this to me. How dare you be friends with Tim? I've been friends with Tim since Occupy Wall Street. And I've seen the talk, ditch Tim. And I'm seeing also the comments, quartering, attacked Candace. You attack Candace too? I'm like, no, I like Candace and I like the quartering. I could be friends with both of them. But this type of like blood sports team drama, we need fighting. Can we grow up? Can we stop making everything Jerry Springer? Can we stop being ridiculous? Can we stop just trying to self-inflict wounds on ourselves here? Take a step back. Yesterday, the election should be a big wake-up call. Fixing the economy, dealing with the Federal Reserve private Federal Reserve banking scheme, dealing with all the fraud, waste, and abuse, dealing with initiatives by the donor class that are getting everything that they ever wanted are the real issues that we need to address. And I agree with individuals like Mike Cernovich that said, hey, look, let's be honest, Trump prioritized the donors. Right? He didn't prioritize the American working class. He prioritized the donors in many of his most important policy decision-making. Does Trump deserve that criticism? Yes. Why? Because maybe he'll actually listen to it and then understand, yeah, the guy promising free stuff, right? the guy saying, I'll give you everything, I'll fix it for you. Those guys need to be dealt with by being better than they are and by proving to people, hey, allowing you to keep your money, moving away some of this nonsense for your life so you can actually make it in this economy is something that I think is more indicative. I'm going to make the next video about what Trump should be doing next in face of what happened last night. If you want to see that video, subscribe, click the notification button. Thank you so much for getting the creatine, supporting independent media. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.